Good morning. So for some of you that were in Adelaide last year, you'll remember we launched Restart a Heart Day. I had lots of big letters and flashing lights and things, but I don't have that this year, I'm sorry. But I thought it was really timely to provide both a quick update as to the results of what happened on October the 16th of last year, but also to tell you about our plans for October the 16th this year, 2018. So, Restart a Heart Day. It came from relatively small beginnings. It was an idea that originally came out of the Europe Resuscitation Council, but was picked up in 2016 by Ambulance Victoria, who ran with it in their state with lots of volunteers doing some training in schools and in public places, and it was quite a great event for them. And we heard about that, and we thought, well, let's roll this out across Australia and New Zealand. So in 2017, as I mentioned, we had the first national campaign for Restart a Heart Day across the whole of Australia and New Zealand. And the purpose of Restart a Heart Day is just to get as many people a little bit more familiar with CPR and the use of an AED, so that if they're ever put in the situation where they need to do either of those things, they have a little bit of knowledge, maybe a little bit of muscle memory, but equally when the communication centre or control centre are coaching them around CPR and use of AED, they've got some familiarisation. We think this is a really important contributor to step 8 in the 10 steps, and that's what should increase bystander CPR effectiveness significantly. So 2018 is coming around real quick, October 16th. We've had a lot of planning in place. We've had the benefit this year of planning a year out as opposed to just 4 months out last year. So lots of stuff happening. Most importantly, Restart a Heart Day is now recognised by ILCOR as a worldwide event and is being renamed as World Restart a Heart Day. Because we're in this part of the hemisphere, the sun rises first, so New Zealand, shortly followed by Australia, gets to launch Restart a Heart Day for the whole world, which is great. And it'll, of course, support that. The plans for us this year is that we will do some stuff in New Zealand, obviously, but in Australia, we're going to launch Restart a Heart Day on the gardens or grounds just outside Parliament in Canberra. Should be quite a large event with a lot of media. We're hoping to get some ministers on their knees, doing a little bit of hands-on chest. Even it would be great if we could get all the health ministers to compete. Well, who knows? We'll try. But I think it will give Restart a Heart Day a lot of publicity, which is really needed to get the message out there. And we're continuing the same messages. We think it's really important to be consistent about the messaging and not swap around each year. So only 1 in 10 survive a cardiac arrest. We can beat that. And the key messages around call 000 or 111, push and shock. So they remain consistent. And all our supporters and contributors to Restart a Heart Day are committed to this branding and to these key messages. Obviously, we're going to be very reliant on social media to push that out. And we have both a web page and obviously a hashtag to promote Restart a Heart Day on social media. So 2017 was really successful considering we had very little lead-in time and the services, all 10 of them which participated, had not allocated specific funding or budget to do this. So we saw some amazing things. And our best estimate is that in the ballpark of 10,000 people were trained on that day across Australia and New Zealand, which was amazing. And our social media reach extended past 1.2 million. So great starting point. We can do better. This is a little video clip around some of the activities that occurred during Restart a Heart Day last year. correct. And as you can see at the end there, Australia handed the baton, so to speak, to the United Kingdom. And that's primarily because there wasn't a lot of Restart a Heart Day happening in between these nations. But I'm pretty sure this year we've been working with our colleagues across both the States and Canada, and touching base with South Africa as well, just to see if we can get Restart a Heart Day beginning in those countries too. One of the things we wanted to do this year particularly was to extend the reach of Restart a Heart Day. As you can see from the video clips, there was groups of amazing ambulance sector volunteers working in lots of environments such as schools, sports, arenas and public spaces. But we thought, you know, that's great, but we need to keep pushing this a little bit further out, and we need to get into larger corporates and organisations. So one of the things we've decided to do this year is to provide some way of facilitating other organisations who don't have direct access or can't access an ambulance staff member to run their own Restart a Heart Day. So we put together a package of material so they can do their own in-house Restart a Heart Day event. So we've added some stuff to our website. That's a bit small, I'm not expecting you to read that, but basically we have put together a package of activities that can outline a day for them. And that includes some videos for them to watch as an introduction to the program, some discussion points so they can actually start talking about what CPR means and AEDs, and then an activity around finding their nearest AED. And then at the end of that, making a plan as to what to do if something would happen in their own workplace. We're continuing to make available advertising collateral so that people can advertise it in their workspaces based on the key messages, and posters so people can actually advertise their actual event. These are all downloadable and free and customizable to a degree. The discussion points are there. We want people to start having a conversation. We're providing some set answers for them as well, so that will assist them in guiding the conversations. This is one of our activities we're planning where, as an organisation, the staff sit down and work out where their nearest AED is. That might mean leaving the building and walking around until they find it. And if that's an AED that isn't accessible 24/7, where's the next AED where we can access? So I think this is useful for two reasons. A, they're going to know where the nearest AED is, but more importantly, it might get them to recognise that they might need their own AED in their building. We're also going to promote a few other activities around AED. One of the strong lessons from last year was that a lot of people were A, scared to use them, and B, had no idea where they were. So a couple of things we plan to do around AED use is to do some myth busting around trying to reduce the fear of people killing somebody with an electric shock. And we think that would be particularly helpful. And also having the courage to actually open the AED and put pads on. I think a lot of people are really fearful of that too. Get them to put a plan together as an organisation or team and how they might respond. So we think that's a good starting point. We're testing this at the moment. We should be ready to go quite soon. Frank, can you make my slide go? Yes, thank you. It's a wee video clip that we're using to assist people.
That's 63 people every day. 63 mums, dads, children and grandparents who each mean the world to someone, but only 1 in 10 survive a cardiac arrest. Together, we can beat that. Restart a Heart Day is October 16. Would you know what to do if someone's heart suddenly stopped? This Restart a Heart Day, we want every Australian to know how to do CPR and use a defibrillator. Find out more at restartaheart.net. Together, we can all help save lives.
And that was the Australian version. We have a New Zealand version as well, of course. Some of the events that are planned for this coming October are really quite amazing. And I think all 10 services that we work with are putting significant planning in place as we speak. Of course, I think we'll see a lot of what we saw last year, so lots of volunteers working in schools, training maybe just a class, or some services are planning on training whole schools on the day. I think we'll continue to see a lot of pop-up CPR and AED training in public places all over Australia and New Zealand, in those high foot traffic areas, such as airports and railway stations and main intersections. We will see an increased number of CPR challenges. I think the services have got even more access to mannequins that provide some feedback. So we're hearing about challenges just with the general public, but getting celebrities and sports stars to challenge each other, clubs and associations and ministers of health, etc. So that should be quite exciting and provide some good social media content. We're hearing more and more about AEDs being used as prizes and given away to communities that haven't got them, which is really, really satisfying. We're hoping to see an increased uptake by these larger organisations, particularly interested in getting airlines, banks, energy companies and the like on board and roll this out right across their whole associations. We had a wee conversation last night with the New Zealand team, and I don't know if you've flown Air New Zealand recently, but a domestic flight in Air New Zealand, the only entertainment is a quiz. So they have a general knowledge quiz up on the screens above you. But what we've noticed is if there's a national important event happening, you can often slip in some questions regarding that. So we're quite keen to see if we can get Restart Heart Day questions put into the quiz and perhaps a video shown as well as part of that quiz. And that would be a massive exposure to the travelling public of New Zealand over that week. Obviously, media will be heavily involved, and there's lots of media plans being put together as we speak. They include both public and community radio, TV interviews, and obviously traditional newsprint. And a lot of eager uptake by those organisations. We're going to see a lot more activity outside of urban areas. There's a lot of planning to take Restart Our Heart Day to our rural and remote communities and our Indigenous communities, which is great. We're also seeing plans around piggybacking Restart Our Heart Day on other major events that are taking place on that day. So events such as the Invictus Games, Bondi Rescue and the Royal Brisbane Show, to name a few. We're going to see increased uptake of survivor stories. I think a lot of services are looking to record their survivor stories because it's a really, really powerful message. And we look forward to showing those. Again, we're going to get a lot of vendor support. The vendors of AEDs and of mannequins are really keen to participate and really willing to help any group, association, ambulance service in any way possible with equipment and staff, if necessary, on Restart Our Heart Day. And we are working with other like-minded organisations and mission-aligned organisations around out-of-hospital cardiac arrest. So we've got on board this year pretty much across the whole of Australia and New Zealand, St John Ambulance, Red Cross, Fire Services, the Heart Foundation and the Royal Flying Doctor Service, all doing activities to support this. So, you know, we did well last year. I think we're going to do really well in 2018. We've got a goal of 50,000 people to train. I think we can achieve that by reaching out further into the community for their support. We've had that, is that the same video? Yeah, okay, we're done. Excellent, so that's Restart Our Heart Day for October the 16th. I look forward to participating with you all on that day, and let's go for that big goal of 50,000 plus people. Thank you.